It is often speculated the reason to why PvZ Adventures was shut down so soon was because of this game. Plants vs. Zombies 2, or how it was called back in the day, Plants vs. Zombies 2, It's About Time, because it was about time they made a proper sequel. Ooh, wonderful pun, Mr. PopCap, bravo! These two titles, though, they were only released 3 or so months from one another, and because PvZ 2 was outperforming Adventures like crazy, they decided to pour all their resources and manpower into this one, leaving Adventures to slowly die. That's the theory, at least. And you know what? I can't really blame them for doing this, because first of all, Facebook games were kinda dying. You can't even properly play the original Farmville anymore. And also, PvZ 2 was and still is a massive success. Even today, it's sitting at the number 15 spot in the adventure category on the iOS store. Why is Hello Neighbor here though? Like, who invited you? Now, there are also two ways to view PvZ 2. One, the way the game was originally meant to be played and seen. Or two, modern PvZ 2, which, holy hell, did they absolutely demolish this title, which is such a shame, because there is a good game here. A really fun, well-crafted, and faithful sequel to the original PvZ. It's just covered in goop. A crap ton of disgusting, slimy, stinky slop. What they did to PvZ 2 is kinda similar to what they did to the mobile version of PvZ 1, but so much worse. Here's the thing though, PvZ 2 is still only available on mobile devices. There has never been a console or PC port, unlike the original. Meaning the only way to play it legit is to play the shameless cash grab version that you can get on the Play or iOS store. And this version, it just sucks. It's unapologetically greedy and poor in quality. I really do want to fairly review PvZ 2 though, but it's hard since the game has changed a huge amount since its initial launch, so I decided to split it up in two. Classic PvZ 2 and Modern PvZ 2. For Modern PvZ 2, I'm talking about the newest version you can get on the Play and iOS store, but for Classic PvZ 2, I'm talking about one of the versions released in 2016, just after Modern Day Part 2 was added, but also before plant leveling, which, by the way, this whole plant leveling system is such a scam, man. You have no idea. The reason to why I'm splitting this game up is because the gameplay of Modern PvZ 2 is just so heavily affected by its monetization. Don't get me wrong, Classic PvZ 2 also had monetization, but it wasn't nearly as egregious, and I might even say it was pretty fair. So without further ado, Classic PvZ 2 is a very charming and wonderful addition to the PvZ franchise. Seriously though, I think that Classic PvZ 2 is a pretty good sequel that really does live up to the highs of the original. It for sure doesn't reach the peaks of it, but it's good. This is, to put simply, a fun game with a lot of creative new additions that spice up the gameplay loop nicely. It's also about 5 times bigger than the original. There is a lot of content in this game. The main selling point of PvZ 2 is visible within its old tagline, "It's about time," which wasn't just a play on words for saying that it was about time they made a sequel, but also that the game is literally about time. Time travel, baby, yeah! While PvZ 1 was about defending all angles of your house against waves of zombies, PvZ 2 is about defending your house in a handful of time periods, ranging from the old Wild West to the far future. From the frosty caves of 12,000 BC to the beaches of the 1960s, and every one of these time periods is its own world, consisting of about 20 to 30-ish levels each. In comparison, okay? The original game had 5 stages with 10 levels each. PvZ 2 has 11 stages with over 300 levels in total. This game is big. You might even say a little too big. At times it does feel like the game is stretching itself out fairly thin. But what's fun about these worlds though is that each one of them brings along its own mechanics, plants, zombies, and just overall theming to set itself apart. Changing tides in Big Wave Beach, mechs in Far Future, slider tiles in Frostbite Caves, the piano zombie in the Wild West. This is the best addition in this game by far. Neon Mixtape Tour's whole gimmick is that depending what music is playing, it will buff certain zombies. This is a really fun world, probably one of my favorites. There are so many unique and creative mechanics in this game, so many fun plans, wacky zombies with interesting abilities, stage hazards that make every world feel unique from one another, and that's not even mentioning plant food. I love plant food, man. It is such a fun addition, giving every plant a little power up to aid you in defeating zombies. Genius, simply genius. Another new addition of PvZ2 that isn't as big of a hit in my opinion are Brain Busters, which you can kind of see as a replacement of minigames from the original. A Brain Buster level is basically a standard normal level with an added objective or condition, like having to beat a level while not being able to plant plants on Dave's mold colonies, or don't spend more than X sun, survive and protect the endangered plants, that kind of stuff. Some worlds also have world exclusive Brain Busters, but it's still an overall downgrade in comparison to minigames. Some of these objectives feel very tacked on last minute instead of being fun experiments. The thing is though, they repeat these Brain Busters quite a lot to the point that they lose their charm, and be honest with me for a second, okay? What sounds more exciting? Playing a level where you have to produce X amount of sun, or gambling? Of course I'm going to choose gambling, man. What are you even thinking? Also, like, how are you going to make a PvZ game and not include walnut bowling? That's like the iconic minigame, and I'm not taking this as compensation, okay? There are a lot of fun ideas here, though. The creativity does go through the roof, which is also why I'm very happy that the art direction of this game is as good as it is. Dude, PopCap has hit it big here. Don't get me wrong, okay? The original game's presentation is timeless and I will forever cherish it, but the sequel, they did such a great job trying to stay faithful to the original while giving everything a nice fresh coat of paint. I especially really like that every world has their own zombie variations, their own brown coats, imps, gargantuars, all wonderfully themed to their respected world. The main menu, although not as charming as the original with the big tombstone, is still oozing with a lot of style. I still kinda miss the old PvZ2 map, if I'm honest. Crazy Dave also got a makeover. The fact that they kept him in the exact same pose as PvZ1, I don't know what it is, but I just love that detail. The aura that radiates off him is impeccable. And then the music, the background art, the plant animations, the whole presentation package of PvZ2 is just great. PopCap really hit the nail on the head perfectly, and all I can truly give are compliments. The game also includes a handful of quality of life changes / features that are quite impactful to the overall gameplay loop. Like a 2x speed button, zombies flashing red once you get close to your house, you getting a bit of sun back after digging up a plant, or being able to launch a lawnmower by tapping on it. However, there is one big change that had drastic implications for the entire game, and that is the new sun meta. When Plants vs. Zombies 2 first came out, each normal sized sun still gave you 25, just like the original, but the developers felt this was a bit too slow. So once 1.7 was released at the end of 2013, this was changed to 50. Because of this new sun meta, you were able to set up your defenses a lot quicker, plus the addition of plants like iceberg lettuce and Stalia means you can stall out the first few waves even more optimal, giving you that extra edge to get ready before a big wave starts pouring through. To compensate for this though, they made this game a lot more difficult, like a big chunk harder compared to its ancestor, and here is sadly where some of my issues start to arise. The game does have easier stages like Frostbite Caves or Pirate Seas, but others are just frustrating messes, with the worst contender in my opinion being Jurassic Marsh. This world feels borderline unfair at times, mainly because of the dinosaurs. They screw up your defenses so quickly, with so little sweat that it becomes annoying. Big Wave Beach is another one. A low tide can just instantly screw you over, and the fisherman zombies are the bane of my existence. Don't even get me started on this asswipe though. He's going straight into F tier. But where I think the core gameplay loop of PvZ2 truly just crumbles apart is within these three little icons. They are basically lifesavers, and if you tap on one of them, you can activate a special power that lets you dispatch a bunch of zombies quickly in exchange for some in-game coins. You can get coins in a multitude of ways, mainly from just playing the game, but you can also buy them with money. My favorite! The reason why I really do not like this mechanic is because the game is kinda designed around it. I'm pretty sure they made a lot of these levels really hard on purpose, so you are kinda pressured into using one of these power-ups. You aren't forced to use them, but what do you think little Timmy is gonna do when he has almost beaten a level and a stray zombie is almost at his house? Yeah, he's going to click the big flashing red button in the corner of the screen to beat the level instead of trying it again. The doy. I somewhat get it though. This is a free-to-play game and they need to make money somehow, but I still find this whole mechanic rather strange since they already had a monetization method in the form of premium plans. I still don't like this, don't get me wrong. I would rather just buy a game outright, but at least it doesn't take away from the main gameplay loop. This actively does, and it soured my enjoyment of the game quite heavily. If they tweaked this game just a bit, made the worlds more compact, I think 30 plus levels per world is a lot. 20 is a nice amount in my opinion. Balanced the levels out better, got rid of the microtransactions and the stupid power-up system, put it on the PC and, I don't know, charge 30, 40 bucks for it. I think this would have been a fantastic game, but sadly, it's a free-to-play mobile game that's never really able to show off its full potential, and I think that's a bit of a shame. I don't think PvZ2 is an awful game though. Hell, I think it's actually pretty fun. It's just kneecapped for the sake of making more money, which just sucks. But still, it's a fun game that I recommend checking out if you like the original PvZ. But modern PvZ2 on the other hand, this game has become a goddamn disgrace. It is sad, with a capital S. This game is just such a barren shell of its former glory. Although all the core components are still here and functional, they have bloated this game with so much crap and unnecessary additions over the years that it has become a stain on the entire series, and that is not an exaggeration, okay? There are many reasons to why PvZ2 has declined in quality over the years, but one of them stands above the rest by a mile, and that is plant leveling. I already said this, but plant leveling is a straight up scam, man. Not only is it a way for PopCap and EA to squeeze every last cent out of your wallet, but it's also a mechanic that fundamentally ruins the game to its core. A very underappreciated aspect of the entire PvZ franchise has always been consistency. You don't really think about this a lot when playing the games, but it really is a core staple. A brown coat, for example, always takes 10 pea shots to take out. Potato mines take 14 seconds to prime. The boomerang always shoots through 3 enemies. Blover is a 50-sun plant. Gargantuars throw their little imp body always around half health. Each plant and zombie has a consistent amount of health, damage, cost, recharge time, mechanics, projectile velocity, you name it. Plant leveling ruins this entire aspect of the game, and that consistency is thrown out of the window so the corporate suits at the top of the company can buy an extra yacht that they won't even use. Let me put it in some terms that is easier to understand. So, a normal pea shooter deals about 20 damage a shot, right? For a brown coat, this means 5 hits for them to lose their arm and 10 hits for them to die. Well, if you level up your pea shooter by buying seed packets for an insane price, mind you, and manage to hit level 20, that pea shooter can deal a whopping 120 damage a shot, meaning you can 2-hit a brown coat. coat. A melon pot doesn't even deal that much damage. So imagine max leveling your melon pot. The system is broken. It's so ass. This entire plant leveling mechanic objectively obliterates that delicate balance of the game and turns it into a sloppy power creep pace that just ruins it from a fundamental level. And the worst part about it is, you can't revert it. Once you level up a plant, there is no way to go back to their original stats. Again, that delicate balance of the game ruined for a yacht that isn't even going to be used. Thank you, EA and PopCap. Thank you. Just because of plant leveling, I'm putting this game into the stinky enjoyment tier, but that's not even everything they ruined, because they also filled this game to the brim with ads. Every time you beat a level, watch an ad, just like the mobile version of PvZ1. Wow, my favorite! You can stop getting ads, however, by buying something in the shop. So for this video, I did buy the Power Lily, and then like, I never used it. Lol. Actually, discard what I just said, because they recently changed this. And if you want to get rid of ads now, you need to buy a $5 a month subscription. What an absolute disgrace, man. It's never enough for these guys. They also added 2 new modes, Arena and Penny's Pursuit, and both of them just reek. These are modes designed for you to spend money, quietly trying to make you buy seed packets. That is their only purpose, and it sucks. I do not recommend playing them. Limited time events are now a big thing. You know, you gotta have that FOMO. They always had piñata parties, which were also a sort of limited timed event, but these were very well done, rewarding you with a fun cosmetic outfit and nothing more. But nowadays they just give you seed packets because fun isn't allowed here. It doesn't make enough money. And then finally they also added a lot of new plans over the years, like a lot of plans. Besides the fact that all of these new plans are premium plans that you have to buy with money, they also just, they look off, right? Like they don't have the same art style as the base ones. Well, that's because this game is no longer maintained by PopCap Seattle, but instead by a studio in India named Slingshot Studios. Now, I have nothing against my homies from India, okay? But it's clear that this studio doesn't understand PvZ2's art style, and a lot of these plans, like I'm sorry, but they just look bad. They don't fit in. I was praising PvZ2's art style before. All the base plants and zombies I think look great, but most of these new ones though, it just look off, like they come from a different game. And this goes for every other quote-unquote new thing they add. It always looks a bit crummy and clashes with the original art style. One of the limited time events, for example, was a Rome-inspired world, and just look at the Zomboss introduction animation. We aren't even trying anymore, man. Also, this game does not need to have 200 plus plans. Like, this is absurd. Did we really need Bada Boom, an over-pressurized bulb of boiling butter? Is this Plants vs. Zombies or Butter vs. Zombies? Get the hell out of here, man. PvZ2 has just rapidly declined in quality over the years, to the point that I can no longer really recommend even installing it. If you're interested in playing PvZ2, please, for the love of God, play a version from 2016 and not this cash-hungry modern version. It's bad. Bad game. Okay, one final thing to talk about before we can end this chapter, and that is of course the achievements. Yes, PvZ2 has achievements, but if I'm wholeheartedly honest, they are kinda babies, since it's mainly just completing the main adventure mode with some side objectives, like using Time Warp 3 times in the same level, or completing a level where the fisherman zombies don't hook your plants. However, a few of these achievements stick out from that mold, and those are the Facebreaker achievements and Sasquatched. I didn't really talk about this, but yeah, Facebreaker is in PvZ2. No iZombie though, so I'm sad, but the vase breaker that's present here is very faithful and a lot of fun. All you need to do to get these 4 achievements though is beat all the vase breaker levels and then reach wave 30 in the endless mode. Now, reaching wave 15 in the original PvZ to get the China shop achievements was one of the more difficult things to do for 100% completion. So hearing you have to get to wave 30 in PvZ 2, double that of PvZ 1, made me quiver a bit, but I did it on my first attempt. Maybe I've just played too much Vase Breaker over the years, but I didn't think it was that difficult. Probably has to do with the fact that you get a bunch of plant food and some sun that you can use to buy cherry bombs, making it quite a bit easier. Don't get me wrong, Pottery Trainer is definitely one of the harder achievements from PvZ 2. But Sasquatched is the real star of the show, since sadly you can't really get this achievement legitimately anymore. To get Sasquatched, all you need to do is kill the Yeti zombie. In PvZ 1, you did this by playing the adventure mode a second time on a save file until you reach level 410, where you would be able to kill him. However, in PvZ 2, they turned the Yeti into a daily activity that rewards you with some coins. The way it would work is that each day the Yeti zombie would spawn in a random level. Go to that level, defeat the Yeti zombie, and you'd get the achievement. Easy peasy Yeti squeezy. However, they removed this for no real apparent reason. I don't know why. If you play an older version of PvZ 2 though, you can still get this daily Yeti event, but the older versions of PvZ 2 don't support Google Play achievements anymore, meaning this achievement is almost impossible to get. I did find people online say that the Yeti zombie can spawn in a random limited time event throughout the year, but it's really vague when that exactly is, and going off a random rumor is kinda stupid. So my achievement list looked like this: 74 out of 75, and guys, you know me, I don't leave games uncompleted. This is like my thing. I had to cook up a plan. I refused to leave this game unfinished. So I decided to go to fellow content creator HeyI'mJ, asking if they might have a solution. They did, giving me a mod that would spawn the Yeti zombie on day 1 of Ancient Egypt. So I installed the mod by messing with some files, booted up the game, went to Ancient Egypt day 1, and there he was. I did it. This is just stupid beyond belief, man. Making me mod a game to get 100% completion is dumb. It's really dumb. So once again, big thanks to HeyI'mJ. Subscribe. Fully completing this game is just such a waste of time. So, like, don't do it, okay? Just don't.